You sat down to watch a documentary about focus. Because you read that your attention span is broken, you made it 47 seconds before checking your phone. Then you came back. Then you checked it again. Then you opened this video instead, which means you are now watching a video about not being able to watch videos. Congratulations, you are the documentary. In 2015, Microsoft published a study claiming the average human attention span had dropped from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, below a goldfish. Major news outlets ran it. TEDx speakers cited it. Your productivity coach definitely mentioned it. The study was never peer-reviewed. The methodology was, to put it gently, creative. The goldfish number was made up. None of that matters because everyone already believed it. Here is something nobody mentions. We have been panicking about technology destroying human attention for approximately 2,400 years. In 370 BC, Socrates warned that writing, as in words on a page, would ruin human memory. People would stop thinking and just read things instead. Appalling. A few centuries later, the printing press arrived, and clergy immediately warned that cheap books would corrupt the masses. Too much information. The mind couldn't handle it. 1950s. Television will rot your brain. 1980s. Video games cause violence and stupidity. 1990s. The internet means nobody will read anymore. 2000s. Google is making us unable to think deeply. 2010s. Smartphones are creating an epidemic of mental illness. Each time, breathless headlines, congressional hearings, books with alarming titles. Each time, the generation that grew up with the technology turned out fine. Mostly. Now, the goldfish. The famous claim is that goldfish have a 3-second memory. This is also not true. Goldfish can be trained to navigate mazes, recognize feeding times, and remember tasks for months. Researchers at Oxford spent significant time and funding proving this, because science is a noble endeavor. The 3-second memory is a myth. The Microsoft study comparing humans to goldfish was comparing a made-up number to a different made-up number. So, we're fine on the goldfish front. Okay, so if the goldfish thing is wrong, what is happening? To understand that, we need to talk about dopamine. You've heard of dopamine. It's the pleasure chemical. Except, it's not. That is also incorrect. Dopamine researcher Kent Berridge spent 20 years testing this. He found that dopamine is not about pleasure, it's about wanting, anticipation, the feeling right before you get the thing, not the feeling of having it, the craving, not the satisfaction. This matters because dopamine spikes on certainty, not reward, on certainty. If you always get a reward, dopamine flatlines. If you never get a reward, dopamine flatlines. But if you might get a reward, the signal goes haywire. This is called reward prediction error, and it is the engine of addiction. Your brain doesn't want the reward. It wants the moment right before the reward, when anything is still possible. In 1948, psychologist B.F. Skinner put a pigeon in a box with a lever. Sometimes pressing the lever gave food, sometimes it didn't. Completely random. The pigeon went absolutely insane pressing the lever. More than if it always got food, more than if it never got food. Random intermittent reward was the most addictive schedule Skinner ever found. He called it variable ratio reinforcement. It is also the exact mechanism that makes slot machines work. A slot machine is a Skinner box for humans, and social media is a slot machine on your phone. The infinite scroll was invented in 2006 by designer Ozzy Raskin. He later publicly apologized for it. Pull to refresh mimics the slot machine lever. Variable likes on your posts, sometimes 2, sometimes 200, train you to keep checking. The notification badge is a red circle, specifically chosen because red is an urgency signal. None of this is accidental. Ozzy Raskin estimates that infinite scroll alone costs humanity 600,000 hours of attention every day. TikTok's algorithm makes a keep or skip decision in approximately 4 seconds. 4 seconds. If you watch past 4 seconds, TikTok concludes you liked it and shows you more of that. If you scroll, it notes the failure and tries something else. The algorithm is not serving you content. It is running an optimization loop to find the specific dopamine trigger that keeps your thumb still longest. And it has roughly 3 billion training examples to work with. The average American checks their phone 96 times a day. Once every 10 minutes. The average screen time for an adult in 2024 is 7 hours. For teenagers, 8 hours and 40 minutes. That is a full-time job. A full-time job that ends with you knowing the opinions of people you don't respect about events you can't control, and leaving you somehow both exhausted and understimulated. Here is something your phone stole from you that you didn't notice. When your brain has nothing to do, it does not go idle. It switches into what neuroscientists call the default mode network. This is the brain's maintenance mode, consolidating memories, processing emotions, making creative connections, solving problems in the background. It's why your best ideas come in the shower. You are never less productive than when you think you're relaxing. You are actually running batch processing. But you have to be bored first. Even if you put the phone away, the damage is partially done. Organizational psychologist Sophie Leroy discovered a phenomenon called attention residue. When you switch from task A to task B, part of your brain stays stuck on task A. You're physically present on task B, but cognitively you are partially elsewhere. Checking your phone for 30 seconds costs you roughly 20 minutes of degraded performance. Not because you're distracted, because you're splitting. The opposite of this is flow. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and yes, that is his real name, I'm not going to attempt it again, described flow as a state of total absorption where time disappears and performance peaks. Surgeons enter flow. Athletes enter flow. You've entered flow playing video games at 2 in the morning, which is why it's 3 in the morning. The catch? Flow requires approximately 23 minutes of uninterrupted focus to reach. A single phone notification resets the clock. Neuroscientists do agree that repeated behavior reshapes neural pathways. This is neuroplasticity. So there is a version of the story where constant context switching trains your brain to prefer shallow, fast stimulation over sustained focus. Your attention is not destroyed, but it may be getting, let's say, recalibrated toward urgency, which sounds fine until you're trying to read a contract, follow a recipe, or have a conversation that takes more than 45 seconds. Here is what actually helps. Number 1. The Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of work, 5-minute break, repeat. You are not fighting your brain. You are working with its natural oscillation between focused and diffuse thinking. It sounds like productivity cult nonsense, but it has 40 years of research behind it and the core principle is correct. Your brain needs rest cycles, not infinite push. Number 2. Monotasking. Multitasking is not a skill. It's a myth. Stanford researcher Clifford Nass found that people who think they're good at multitasking are, objectively, the worst at it. They're just faster at switching and have a higher tolerance for the resulting cognitive noise. Single task. One thing. Finish it. The productivity gains are not subtle. Number 3. The phone in another room. Not on silent. Not face down. Another room. Studies by the University of Texas found that even a phone sitting face down on your desk reduces cognitive capacity, just by its presence. Your brain knows it's there. It uses resources monitoring it. The solution is as boring as it sounds. Out of sight, out of mind, is neurologically accurate. But here's the thing that all the panic, all the studies, all the productivity content leaves out. Your attention span isn't broken. Your brain is doing exactly what 300 million years of evolution designed it to do. Track novelty, respond to change, monitor for threats. A stationary environment with nothing new means safety. A changing environment means stay alert. Social media is the most novelty-dense environment in human history. Of course you can't look away. The problem is not you. The problem is the environment. Your brain hasn't changed. What changed is that a trillion-dollar industry spent 20 years engineering the most effective attention capture mechanism in human history and pointed it at you. You are not failing to pay attention. You are succeeding at exactly the task the app was designed to make you do. This is an asymmetric fight. You're bringing free will to a machine learning gunfight, so be kind to yourself about it. This doesn't mean give up. It means change the environment, not your willpower. Remove apps, use grayscale mode. Apps are less compelling without color. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Charge your phone outside the bedroom. These are structural changes, not discipline. You can't outmuscle a billion-dollar design team with gritted teeth. You design your environment so the fight doesn't happen. So, in simple terms, your attention span is not 8 seconds. The goldfish comparison was fabricated. Dopamine drives wanting, not pleasure. Social media is an engineered slot machine. Boredom is your brain doing important work. And your inability to focus is a rational response to an irrational environment. The brain that kept your ancestors alive on the savannah is now being used to sell you shoes at 2 in the morning. It's doing its best. You should tell it it's doing a great job, right after you put the phone down, which, statistically speaking, you are about to pick back up. If this video somehow held your attention for 9 minutes, that's either proof the crisis is overstated, or proof that variable reward schedules work on educational content too. Either way, subscribe button's right there. Or don't. I'm a stickman, not a neurologist.